Hey guys, Brian here with the sixth part of my 8-part exploration of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. I haven't made one of these in a while, and I'm sorry about that. I guess I wasn't exerting the right effort. And speaking of right effort, we'll be talking about right effort. Right effort can be seen as the conscious choice, the choice of skillful mindsets over unskillful. And the Buddha said this about right effort in the Digha Nikaya. He said that right effort is really making effort, stirring up energy, and exerting that energy. So right effort, we can see, breaks into 4 different parts. There's 4 different efforts or parts. I'm probably going to refer to them as 4 efforts. And the first is preventing negative mind states. The second is overcoming negative mind states. So these first 2 deal with negative mind states. The third is cultivating positive mind states, and the fourth is maintaining positive mind states. So you see it's kind of a progression, preventing negative mind states, and if they do arise, overcoming them, cultivating mind states, positive mind states, trying to give rise to positive mind states, and then maintaining them. We'll look into those a little further along, but I would like to point out that the right effort really starts to bring to mind how these 8 parts of the Eightfold Path are intertwined, and Bhantaji gives a great paragraph describing how they're all connected, especially skillful effort, how skillful effort ties into them. He says, when we study the Buddha's message with the 4 kinds of effort, making the mind wholesome, clear, and able to comprehend, we can achieve skillful understanding of the path, which is the first step on the path. Then, when we apply the 4-fold effort to our thoughts, words, and deeds, resulting in skillful thinking, skillful speech, and skillful action. So it gives rise to, the next 3. When we make the same 4-fold effort to apply moral principles to our work life, we achieve skillful livelihood. Applying this effort to our meditation practice leads to skillful mindfulness and skillful concentration. We might rightly conclude that skillful effort is the fuel needed to power our accomplishment of each of the steps of the Buddha's path. So you can kind of see skillful effort as the fuel or the backbone of the Eightfold Path. But again, all 8 parts of the Eightfold Path tie together very deeply and profoundly, to the point where I think it's almost impossible to say where one starts and one begins, because it's 8 dimensions, not 8 stairs to climb. So Bhantaji does a great job of listing out the different negative mind states that the Buddha really talks about, and they're usually in regards especially to meditation practice, but it's all about what arises in mindfulness practice, and anything can become our meditation practice. Meditation is really just the batting practice of life. So you can see that anything that applies to meditation practice can really be put into play for everyday life. And the first set of negative mind states the Buddha talks about is what's called the 10 fetters, and they're Bhantaji describes them as distortions of understanding that affect our thoughts, sort of like how canals affect the flow of water. So these 10 fetters are, negative mind states that will arise, distort our understanding. And the first one is a belief in a permanent self or soul. The second fetter is doubt or lack of confidence in the practice and in the teachings. The third is the belief that rites and rituals alone can end suffering, going through the motions alone. The fourth is desire or greed for sense pleasures. The fifth is aversion or ill will or hate. The sixth one is desire or attachment to existences in material forms. The seventh is the desire or attachment to existences in immaterial forms or incorporeal forms. The eighth is perception or conceit of a self-identity or ego. The ninth is worry or restlessness, and the 10th is ignorance. And I won't go into detail about these because there's a lot to be said about the 10 fetters. I just don't have the time to go in depth about them. But there's another set of negative mind states that perhaps make most sense in a meditation setting, but these are called the 5 hindrances, and Bantaji describes that if the fetters are winds, these 5 hindrances are tornadoes. And Jean Smith, in her book, I like her definition, so I'll read it to you. She says that these 5 hindrances are expressions of separateness or of the self, and I think that does a good job of illustrating, the origins of these 5 hindrances. And the 5 hindrances are as followed. One is greed, or desire, clinging, grasping. The second is ill will, aversion, hate. The third is sloth and torpor, tiredness, laziness. The fourth is restlessness and worry, the flip side of the third one. And then the fifth one is doubt. Knowing these negative mind states, we can approach the 4 efforts with a little more knowledge. So let's look at the 4 efforts. The first one, preventing negative mind states. And this is done with mindfulness, really, because as we will see in the second step, mindfulness can be applied, can be a very, very strong tool. The second effort is overcoming negative mind states. And we can't really control what thoughts arise, but we can choose which ones stay. And the 10 fetters, the 5 hindrances, whatever it is, they will arise and we can notice it. And the best remedies, the Buddha gives 4 different remedies to overcome these, and I think this can be applied in a sense to preventing the mind states. The first one is to ignore it. If it arises, it's like, okay, you won't feed into it, you won't give it power, you'll just ignore it. Maybe it'll go away. Usually it doesn't, though. So when ignoring it doesn't work, you focus on something else. You turn your attention to something else, maybe your breath, maybe an object of meditation. When that doesn't work, the third is to recall its impermanence and its emptiness. And the fourth is really a last resort, and this is force it away, to push it away. Usually this is what a lot of people think of as emptying your mind. You're forcing everything out, but that's really not what you're supposed to do. Forcing it out is only when it's a last ditch effort to get rid of a negative mind state. So with these 4 ways of the 4 remedies to overcome mind states, we can now approach the third effort, which is cultivating positive mind states. This is, recalling good actions, good moral principles, whatever, maybe the 5 precepts, and you're uplifting these positive mind states. The fourth effort is maintaining them, and this is said to be probably the hardest. It's easy to recall positive mind states. It's difficult to keep them there. And some good, practical things to do and to recall to maintain positive mind states is to develop a regular practice. Involve yourself each day in recalling these. Maybe meditation, definitely meditation, in my opinion. And it's another good way is to immerse yourself in the Dharma, read books, listen to Dharma talks, Just recall these ideas and recall their usefulness. And lastly, associate yourself with people of similar or same practice. A sangha or a meditation group or something can really help you stay inspired to maintain, these positive mind states. And it reminds me of this story of one of the Buddha's attendants said to him, "Well, Buddha, it seems like good companionship and friendship, and a good spiritual community is half the practice." And the Buddha said, "No, you're mistaken. A good spiritual community and friendship is the whole of the practice." And that's how important it is to keep good friends and good spiritual, communities, because without them, you won't have that backbone, that support, the inspiration to keep practicing this wonderful practice. And that's really how to maintain positive mind states. I think that's really all I have for right effort. This one took me a while to get through because it is a very intense and heavy and descriptive one. Next time we will be looking at the 7th step, right mindfulness. So thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope I explained what I learned sufficiently. Maybe I didn't. Maybe you have questions. I still have questions, so I don't know about you, but yeah, thanks for watching, and see you next time.